You just have so many different paths now. I mean, to the point where you can even, I mean, I'm soon we're going to see the point where even putting out YouTube video, people are going to get drafted.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and sitting in for my partner today is Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, how are you doing today, man?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
All right. So on today's episode, segment 1, we're going to do an NBA draft breakdown. Segment 2, we are going to grade the draft. I am a teacher, so we're going to give them letter grades. And then in segment 3, it is a little bit of a combined, way too early playoff predictions and our WNBA weekend review. But Will, NBA draft breakdown, couple of things. One, there are multiple paths to the NBA. You got the traditional college route. You got the G League. You got overtime elite, and you have the international pathway. NBA draft by the numbers. There were 58 picks this year. The Bulls and 76ers violated the NBA tampering rules during free agency. You cheaters for no reason. And out of those 58 picks, we had 6 international players picked, 2 first rounders. We had 4 G League Ignite players, 1 first rounder, and we had 2 overtime elite players, and they both were first rounders. In terms of college, 46 players, so 79% of the players drafted still went the traditional college route. 20 freshmen, 15 first rounders, 6 sophomores, 3 first rounders, 8 juniors, 3 first rounders, and 12 seniors, 4 first rounders. So, Will, here's the direction I'd like to go in. First of all, in your opinion, what is the most sustainable path to the NBA?
I would tell you that the one that works for that particular player, I think that's really the answer. I mean, now that we're showing that you don't have to go to college and you don't have to be an elite high school player, you just have so many different paths now. I mean, to the point where you can even, I'm soon we're going to see the point where even putting out YouTube video, people are going to get drafted, and people going to take a chance. I mean, there was a kid. I mean, I'm telling you, there was a kid in MLB. He was doing like all these trainings in Africa, and he was, pulling tires and ducking under stuff, and he got a chance with Baltimore Orioles. So it's just I love that kids can get exposed anyway, man. I think it's great. The most sustainable path to the NBA now in terms of moving forward, I got to go with college. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, there are just certain things that you learn and go through in college without having to have that, you can have that net underneath you, that safety net. You don't have to pay bills yet if you're playing like a G League kind of player, and if you're kind of doing your own thing international, obviously you're playing a professional. So I think NCAA is a great time. I mean, you can grow your body, you can play the best players, you can get the best,
and you can get NIL money.
Yeah, which is real. And at the end of the day, one of those things only gives you a degree if things don't work out. So I feel like, I would always, if my sons were ever in a position, I would definitely point towards college.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the second question is, can overtime elite sustain itself with the loss of Kevin Ollie? Kevin Ollie was really huge in terms of player development, and he's now in the NBA. They do have some projected 2024 players in overtime elite, but is that a sustainable model in your opinion?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you lose a guy like Kevin Ollie. Every time he goes somewhere, he wins, and every time they leave, they feel bad when he's gone, and it's hard to really recover. Hopefully what he's built, the name will actually provide players and want to come and play. And
they still have good people working at overtime elite.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the sustainability level. Because they got the twins and they've had them for a couple of years and they're going to do well. But, as you said, with the college piece, I don't know how sustainable over the next 3 to 5 years overtime elite's going to be. So that just gives me pause. I want to ask about the G League Ignite. Will the G League Ignite continue to grow? What do you think, Will?
I should. It should, man. I think it should. I mean, if anything, man, the NBA, they I applaud the NBA that they try things to even gain more fandom, more audience. The All-Star drafts or in season tournaments. I'm sorry. But they'll try stuff. So, if they expand it, I mean, they're gonna put money into it, they're gonna get commercials, they're gonna have, hey, LeBron, we need you to go to some of these games and take some pictures so that we saw that everyone's trying to go to this. Um, I think it should grow. I think it's a good brand. I think it's fun. I think, you know what they should do? They should do with the WNBA. They should have women and men play in the G League Ignite, and they all can just pick like a farm team and things like that. That'd be cool. I mean, look, if you're talking about growing the brand,
No gimmicks, man.
look, it's all about the dollars, man. It's all about the dollars.
I like the G League Ignite, and the college thing is unique. I will always recommend somebody go, even if it's 4 years, spend time in college. There's so much you learn in college that is just not replaceable. But if you want to be a professional, and in every other industry, you're able to just go pro. You're able to just be a professional. I work in college and career. Hey, look, you can learn cosmetology and then you can have a bona fide career certification, work 50 years, but I do like the college piece. But I also like what they do with the G League Ignite. I mean, you get to be a professional. You're around professionals. You're learning from pros. Now, will the international numbers, in your opinion, rise, decrease, or remain steady because you only have a maximum of 60 draft picks every year, 58 this year because of those two clown organizations. But what do you think? Do you think we're going to have more international kids, or will it be about the same, or do you think that number's going to decline?
I think it'll be probably around the same. I think around the same. I think that as they continue to grow, we start to learn that the Euro game is not really the same as the professional or the NBA game. I'm sorry. I know they're both professional organizations. And it's just sometimes it's not sustainable. There's certain guys that can fit in for perfectly and they, things work. You can get a solid player for sure. You can go get a solid player, but I think it'll just be, a kind of a balance. I don't think it'll be a big thing in my opinion. I think, it's getting more, but I think it's going to be about the same.
Okay. And college basketball looks very healthy. I don't understand the chicken little skies falling thing. Based on draft data, it looks fine. Will, in your opinion, why do people panic about this? Because I'm just seeing that if you're a 1-year player, you probably need to get in and get out as opposed to a 4-year guy. But people seem to be panicking and the numbers say otherwise. Why do you think that, sir, as we close this segment?
I think people just like to panic. They're always thinking things are going, the sky is falling, like you said, chicken little. So it's just fun. It creates banter, it creates conversation, but crazy enough,
Drew Timmy didn't get drafted.
Well, I mean,
Drew Timmy didn't get drafted.
But the funny thing is, now these kind of things change policies. As people see as sports business is kind of evolving, they're seeing that there had to be kind of put in like NIL, and now they're talking about policy for that. And, and I mean, even before that, I mean, even kids now you had to go to school and you had to go at least a year and stuff like that. So changes as we evolve as athletes. The most thing that we can do as athletes is adapt, if anything. So, they complain, they worry and all this. And, the funny thing is it's always the people like, North Carolina, Duke, all these, they pull the talent from everywhere. They're like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get the team. So it's funny, man. It's funny. But I think there's a hard staple in a kind of generational kind of thing in America that college is just athletics is part of our society, bigger than what business is in, but it's ingrained in us. I don't think it'll go away, and I think it'll still be better. I think it's great, and we're gonna get older kids. So the kids are gonna be like 20, 21 now instead of just like 18, 9-year-olds running around just doing whatever they want. It's gonna be fun. More basketball. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So, fans, when we get back, we're going to actually give letter grades to every NBA team on their draft. And again, we're just focused on the draft. Be right back on the Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, we're doing NBA draft team grades. Now, all of this, fans, it's a game of inches. And draft moves can put you in a position to win titles, as Denver showed you. So, A grades. Will, you have it on the screen. Here are the teams we gave A's to: San Antonio, Portland, Houston, Dallas, Charlotte, Orlando, Indiana, Utah, Toronto, the Lakers, the Wizards, go Wizards, and the New Orleans Pelicans. Will, is there a team in particular or two you'd like to just shout out, or do you disagree with the A grade of what we provided them? What do you think, sir?
I like all of them for all of them except I'm gonna have to say Portland. I'm gonna have to give them at least a B. I think they had a chance to make a decision moving forward of what they need to do with the organization. You could have trade picks for a big name player to go alongside Dame, or you could have trade Dame for picks, and then you can restart your next kind of phase of your organization. And they got caught in the middle, so now they have
caught in the bind. That's how you say. God bless Hank. Caught in the bind.
Yep, they got
Fans,
3.
let me explain that to you real quick. So when you're playing defense and there's a pass that goes out, either you're going to go get the steal or you're going to stay back and react based on the catch. But if you think you can get the steal, that's caught in the bind, because as you pause, all kinds of other things are happening. Mm-hmm. And you lose, and they score, and coach yells at you. So what Will just said was Portland's caught the bind, and I so agree with them, because Dame is a dull knife, ain't cutting, talking loud, saying nothing. Either you gonna stay or you gonna go. You can't be halfway in. That's like San Diego State and Mountain West. I want to leave, but I ain't got nowhere to go yet. But I think I know where I want to go, but I haven't gone. And Scoot Henderson can play. So yeah, I'm picking Scoot Henderson, and I'm going to keep it moving. So Dame, either get on the pod or get off the pod or whatever, man. Any other team, Will, that you either like, dislike? What are you thinking?
Utah, love what Utah did. I thought Utah, they're still building that youth, their youth culture, man. And as we've seen, it flourishes if you put the right pieces around you. Lakers, I'm not going to give them an A, but I wouldn't say they had a bad draft. They just kind of move forward in their Washington Wizards. I think they did a great job. I mean, I didn't think they were going to. I think it's all been bad news about them all week. trading Beal, trading Porzingis. I'm sure Kuz is gone. They basically, I'm going to be on the tickets and when they're selling because they ain't got nobody else. And oh no, Jordan Poole and me and him together going to do that Rose Bar. But I think they really did a good job, man. That's the first thing that's the first, I believe, in the last time I could think of the Wizard being sort of aggressive in the lottery,
Yes.
like going up and getting the player that you want to get and don't waste your time with that. So that was it felt good about that. That's a lot of promise about that. And the last thing, Houston, I love what they're doing. I love it. They have a great front line. Everyone's young, everyone's tall, long.
Don't go get Harden, and you got Ime coaching. Don't go
Yeah,
get Harden.
yep, yeah,
Don't
and yep.
do it.
Don't get Odin. I mean, don't get Harden. He's not gonna help you grow. But you
Yeah.
have a great things going on right now, and if people can kind of work quietly, I think Udoka is going to do that as well based on everything that's happened. They're going to have a team. They're going to have a very good team. And Houston is a great city. They have a great basketball culture. They have a winning culture that they can kind of go back to. So yeah, I think they had one of the best drafts of all of the teams in the draft.
Well, two things for me. One, I love Victor Wembanyama, and I can't wait to watch him in summer league. Don't play him too much. Uh, as somebody who's known for token player appearances, I think that's going to work out for the Spurs. And I love the Pelicans. Now, once the noise stops, once all that chatter stops about Zion, you're not moving Zion. When he played last year, you were in the top 4 in the West. You were. And now you add Jordan Hawkins, who's a shooter. That's something you have to be when you come in. Okay. So you have a lineup of players that can play. So once that noise quiets down, and boy, stop filming everything.
Yeah.
I think you've got a quality ball club that can compete if you just shut up and play basketball. But we're going to move on to the B grades. So here's who I gave a B to: Detroit, Brooklyn, OKC, watch OKC, Golden State, Miami, Sacramento, Denver, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Boston, and Memphis. Looking at the B grades, agree, disagree, Will, what do you got?
I think Detroit. I think they deserve the B that they get. They they picked up Alsar Thompson, and they have a lot of players who are like him already on their team, and they're young. So it's kind of confusing that they picked a kid like that. I hope they don't kind of stick him on the bench and try to make him.
Monty's coaching there, though, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
He is.
So I think Monty wanted another athlete, but
sure.
I agree with you, man. They are a lot of similar guys.
Yeah,
a lot of similar guys.
Totally, it's crazy. Golden State, they didn't really make any splash. I mean, they're after they're not there. They're not there yet. They're waiting for like trading guys and getting big names, and they're not worried about talent and developing right now. Yeah, not yet. Boston, they could have probably did a little better in the draft. I think they did the KP trade, which is cool, but they could have done a little better in my opinion. And, unfortunately, Minnesota continues to flounder. I don't know what the plan is. I think they're just picking because I like the name this best. I like this name. Let's pick this person. It's hard to deceive. We'll see about Miami. Miami always drafts well.
I like Miami's pick. Yep. That kid can play. He's going to come in and be about business. And you need people to be about business because you're in South Beach. Yeah. And there's a lot going on in South Beach. So let's go to the C grades. Gave the Clippers a C. Gave the Cavs a C. Gave the Bulls a C. And Phoenix got a C. Agree or disagree with the draft grades?
It's tough to give Cleveland a C. I like the kid Amani Bates. I do like him. I think there was a lot of hype to him. I think the first time I even heard him, they called him the next LeBron, and I'm just like, that's very strong. Let me pay attention to this kid. If you're talking about the next LeBron, he's kind of had the same issues with kids again with firearms, things like that. and he was able to overcome it, which is excellent. It speaks to his character. He obviously has good people in his camp, and well, now he does at least. And but I think he's one of those kids. He got drafted very low. He can kind of quietly work. The kid can ball. And I think, man, Cleveland is they're building something. So I maybe wouldn't give him a C. I maybe would say a low B, coach, maybe like 80, 81-ish.
Amani Bates is good. I did follow him. He's come up on the show. A lot of hugs and kisses for that kid, though. And each progressive level has been lower. So now you got drafted. You've gone to an organization that you have a skill set that you can get into the mix, but man, it's hard. So we'll see what happens with that. And I gave Philly an incomplete, and I gave New York Knicks an incomplete because they just didn't have draft picks. Any thought about the Sixers or the Knicks before we close this segment?
I mean, then they did pick up Obi Toppin's brother, and they were loving that. They were that man. Knicks fans are ridiculous sometimes. It's unfortunate that they couldn't pick a draft.
And ain't Obi mad at the Knicks?
Yeah. He's upset. And how dare you pick my brother and pay him all that money to play basketball? But yeah, it's a business, man. It's a business. So. Sorry, Knicks fans and Sixers. I mean, you're on the trade move anyway. You guys are trading and shaking and moving, so y'all don't even worry about the draft. But
all right, so in segment 3, fans, way too early picks for the NBA as well as WNBA news and notes. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 3, in an ode and an homage to the NBA draft, we're going to extend our NBA coverage and do some way too early playoff predictions. We'll just agree or disagree. Eastern Conference top 6. These teams will definitely make the playoffs next year. The Bucks, the Celtics, 76ers, Cavs, Heat, Knicks. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
All right. 7 through 10. These are our play-in folks. Atlanta, Nets, Toronto, Pacers. Those will be the play-in team.
Agreed.
All right. And then our lottery. Getting ready for 2024. Check your lot, check your college, check your international, your G League, and your overtime elite. Orlando, Washington, Detroit, Bulls, and Charlotte.
Agreed. Same
All
thing.
right. So in the West, top 6, Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Phoenix, Golden State, and the Lakers. Top 6. They're going to make it.
Memphis will be in the 7 to 10.
Oh, okay. Clippers, 7 to 10. Clippers, Dallas, OKC, San Antonio.
Yeah,
That's a stretch for me with Wemby to make the play in.
Yeah. I think Dallas would get. I think Dallas. If you swap Dallas and Memphis, I don't know where they will land, but I think swap Dallas and Memphis in top 6 in the 7 to 10.
All right, and lottery. New Orleans is my wild card because I think New Orleans can be pretty good, but I keep losing bets on them. Minnesota, Houston, Utah, and Portland, and Utah could sneak in too. But the West is tough, man. The West is tough.
It's crazy to say New Orleans, man. And again, Minnesota is still in lottery, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, again, it was way too early. We'll know a little more after summer league, but let's get into our WNBA coverage. So off the court, investment. A lot of times we talk with the WNBA about investment. Well, Chicago might just have a new investor. Former NBA star Dwayne Wade, and Chicago native, if I'm not mistaken, has looked into investing into the Chicago Sky and the WNBA. The Chicago Sun-Times reported that Wade has an interest in buying into the Chicago Sky. The Sky are an independent NBA franchise, meaning they're not affiliated with the Chicago Bulls or any NBA team. Magic Johnson is one of the co-owners of the Sparks, who is also an independent franchise. Will, is this what's needed for the league to grow?
Yes. Yes. The WNBA needs the NBA star to invest on the young side, to show ads and show support. And on the back end, these guys are making so much money, they can actually have real impactful ideas, and they can actually, drive the game. I think it's great. It shows solidarity in the coach, solidarity in the organization, in the NBA, in the FAMs, the fraternity order that they like to do. But yeah, I think it's great, man. I think D Wade has a great name. He's been out buying out. He's doing a lot in terms of buying teams and
I think he's invested in Utah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Very well. I think that's because his son is growing up and he's gonna pick his son on, right? I think his son's already in like the G League or something. He's already doing something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I mean, it could go the other way and they don't invest, and then it flounders. But I think they're doing a good job.
Okay. Speaking of investments, the Washington organization, and this includes the Mystics, is it Qatar or Qatar?
Qatar.
It's Qatar. Qatar's sovereign wealth fund is buying a roughly 5% stake into the parent company of the Washington Wizards, Washington Capitals, and Washington Mystics as a part of a deal that values the entire portfolio at over $4 billion. It is believed that this is the first time the government of Qatar is investing in U.S. professional sports. Now, the NBA has stated that the league board of governors decided last year to allow passive, non-controlling minority investments into the NBA. An expert in such transactions said sports are part of the national branding and public diplomacy strategy of Qatar as they seek to grow and expand their influence in the sports world. Will, is this the direction we want to go in, sir?
Well, the Middle East, I think they're trying to diversify their portfolio because the oil seems to be drying up, and they're very forward thinking. They know, 20, 30, 40 years from now, oil ain't going to be driving the money like it used to be. So they're diversifying their stuff. Golf, basketball. I mean, I don't think they're going to go into football because
soccer. Don't forget soccer.
Soccer for sure. Yeah, they're big in soccer. So they're just doing things to kind of keep the money flowing. And I think they see that we're giving money away for sports in America. So why don't you get in there? And again, at the end of the day, more money, more influence. It will be interesting to see how the Middle East and their culture, especially how they look at women and how women are they look at women. It'd be interesting when now you're Qatar and now you own a WNBA team. It's almost kind of funny in a sense, but we'll see. But that's small, but it's great. The more money can go through, the more money and more money means, hey, we can pay WNBA players, right? We just got so why not? But I think it's good, man.
All right. So the WNBA All-Star game will be on July 15th in Las Vegas, Saturday night, July 15th. If I'm not mistaken, that is a Saturday night. Mm-hmm. So we're looking forward to that. So here's some of the players to watch. Guards: Jackie Young from the Aces, Jewel Lloyd from Seattle, Chelsea Gray also from the Las Vegas Aces, Alicia Gray from the Atlanta Dream. Look out for those guards. And in terms of forwards and centers, look out for Brittany Griner. She's back from injury. Mm-hmm. Alyssa Thompson from the Connecticut Sun, Satoy Salabe from the Dallas Wings, Neke Agumake from the Los Angeles Sparks, Aja Wilson, and Brianna Stewart. And the big question, Will, is who's your early vote for MVP, Aja Wilson or Stewart for WNBA MVP?
I'm gonna give Stewart.
Okay. All right. So Stewie. I'm going to go with Aja Wilson because Las Vegas is killing everybody.
Mhm.
And I can't overlook that. The best player, the best team. Top 4 this week. Las Vegas is number 1. Connecticut's number 2, but I don't think that's going to last very long because Brianna Jones suffered a terrible Achilles injury and she's out of the season. We wish her the best. New York is number 3, and the Mystics are number 4. Bottom 4, Phoenix is the worst team in the league right now. Seattle, Minnesota, and Chicago. Dwayne, go ahead and invest because Chicago needs some help.
Yeah.
Games of the week, Friday, June 30th, Los Angeles against Chicago, and Saturday, July 1st, Connecticut versus Las Vegas. Does Connecticut have enough to win a title without Brianna Jones? I'm a little paused on that.
How did Chicago get in the game of the week? They're supposed to be top bottom.
Hey, we got to see how LA is playing because LA is trying to get into the top 4 and actually just trying to get into the postseason. So yeah, I want to see LA, man. Got to see the Aguma Caves.
Yeah.
So Will, as we close, any final thoughts? We had the draft this week. We got a lot of trades. We've got moving and shaking. Close us out. Anything of note that you want to make sure we mention before we wrap up?
The draft was a good draft, but it was very boring. It was very boring. I couldn't remember it being. I fell asleep. I thought it was after Wemby.
I tapped out.
I was just like, I'm done with this. And
I tapped out after Cam Whitmore got drafted because that's my boy's kid from Spalding. Shout out to Pratt.
There it is, man. And the suits were terrible. So.
What was the dude with the Kansas suit on?
Oh,
with the Dorothy shoes or whatever. Even my wife was like, "What is this?"
And it was weird. He kept it buttoned the whole time. I'm like, "Are you gonna you?" At least when you sit down, you unbutton your jacket. But it was buttoned the whole time. He looked like a wrestler. It looked ridiculous. Terrible fashion.
All right,
better than the NFL though. Better than the NFL.
I'll take it. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, and Captain for Life, Will Cotton, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the I Coaches Podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The I Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches Podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.